Hello, everyone. And as always, before we get started, I wanted to introduce NoMAA's Stroll Coordinator and Inwood's very own Martin Collins, who has a special statement to share with all of us tonight. Martin, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As the home of spiritual artistry, tonight's sponsor, the United Palace on Broadway and 175th Street, celebrates arts, culture, and entertainment while welcoming all faiths. It opened in 1930 as a vaudeville house and movie palace, showing legendary films, some with live appearances by Judy Garland, Jerry Lewis, and the Three Stooges. In 1969, the Wonder Theater was purchased by a church, the United Christian Evangelistic Association, led by Reverend Ike and his family. It retired in 2017 after bringing in a new managerial team to revitalize the operation of the church, became the United Palace of Spiritual Arts. With over 3,300 seats, the United Palace is Manhattan's fourth largest theater. The state-of-the-art concert hall hosts concerts by legends like Miss Lauryn Hill, Romeo Santos, and Aventura. In grateful partnership with Lin-Manuel Miranda, the Miranda family, and the entire community, the United Palace launched a classic movie series with a new projector and surround sound. Guest presenters have included Rita Moreno, Chita Rivera, John Landis. A separate 501c3, the United Palace of Cultural Arts works with community groups to bring young artists to perform on a classic Broadway stage. The theater also hosted generations of graduations and cultural celebrations and is sought after for film and TV shoots. Although the theater has been dark for public events during New York State's shutdown, the United Palace has not closed. Ministerial staff continues to serve the community's spiritual needs, while the security and facilities team assists with COVID-19 recovery. Capital improvements also continue with upgraded seating for guests in wheelchairs and restoration of the lighting under the marquee. When the city and state determines it is safe to reopen to the general public, the United Palace will welcome everyone back in accord with CDC guidelines and open arms. Our big thanks tonight to the United Palace for hosting Cornerstone Studios' Stay Home Open Studio. And please stay with us for a special announcement from NoMAA at the end of tonight's program. Ariel?
Thank you, Martin, for that excellent introduction. And thank you so much to our longtime and great friends at the United Palace. And thanks again to all of you for being here tonight for our 12th virtual open studio. Yes, I think that deserves some thanks again, applause to all of you. My name is Neria Leyva Gutierrez, and I am the Acting Executive Director of Northern Manhattan's Arts Alliance. And before we begin tonight's program, I wanted to give thanks and mention that our program is supported in part by public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council. We are grateful to all of our supporters, our friends, our community of artists and sponsors who make this happen every single week. Tonight's program is a little bit different since we have Jeff Hoppa with Cornerstone Studios with us tonight, along with 2020 Cornerstone Studios Artist in Residence, Gal Cohen. So I'm going to move immediately to my introduction so we have enough time to get it all in, to hear from our wonderful artists, and of course to hear from all of you. And please, as always, feel free to use our chat box to make comments and or to ask questions, which of course we will address during our Q&A. And so here tonight we have Jeff Hoppa, a North Carolina native, but Washington Heights-based visual artist, curator, adjunct professor, and founder, director, and president of Cornerstone Studios Limited. He holds an MFA from New York City School of Visual Arts, and his oil paintings and works on paper focus on the history of exploration, geography, the natural world, and the metamorphic potential of abstraction. He has exhibited widely around the country, and his works can be found in numerous collections all over the United States and Europe. He has received numerous awards. His works have been reviewed in a variety of notable publications, and he has held several residencies, including one at Joshua Tree National Park, where he was artist in residence in 2007. Between 2004 and 2011, he was a member artist at the Elizabeth Foundation for the Arts, which would eventually become the model for Cornerstone Studios. After leaving EFA, the father of two was in search of studio space closer to home. Almost immediately, Jeff, like so many artists, understood how difficult, if not impossible, it was to find a space to work. Fortuitously, around this time, Jeff's wife, Jennifer, who is the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation Administrator for Northern Manhattan, learned from Pastor John Flack at Our Savior's Atonement Church that none other than NoMAA was vacating its office space on the 3rd floor at 178 Bennett Avenue. And thus, Cornerstone Studios was born. Finally, space. Today, 5 years after its establishment, Cornerstone Studios, in affordable space for emerging and career artists, has doubled its square footage and proudly counts among its members a diverse group of 12 photographers, painters, designers, sculptors, and a writer. At Cornerstone, open studios are conducted 2 times a year, one in conjunction with NoMAA's Uptown Art Stroll. Gallery 178 serves as an exhibition space, and its residency program offers a rotating 11-month residency to artists in one of 4 categories: immigrant artists, a late career artist, a recent MFA graduate, or an artist in economic distress. Studio 178's second resident artist, Gal Cohen, is an Israeli-American, and tonight she is our featured artist, and she will be with us to talk about her work a little bit later in the program. But first, here to tell us more about Cornerstone Studios is Jeff Hapa. Jeff.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Niria. I appreciate the introduction. You've said everything I might have said about Cornerstone. We're just so grateful to have space to work close to home in this neighborhood. All of you love the arts or are artists, so you know it's difficult to find space. Most folks work at home. If they have the space at home, folks with kids are kind of out of luck, so they need to find other space. It was a great synchronicity when my wife introduced me to Pastor John, and they've been great partners as we became an actual 501c3 in 2015, just over 5 years ago in May, and we've been here ever since. The apartment next door to the space where we are came vacant about halfway through that time, so we expanded, and most importantly, we're able to offer more space to more artists uptown. We've been involved with a bunch of things, supporting immigrants' rights uptown, raising money for Arecibo in Puerto Rico after the hurricane, working with the good folks at Coogan's, and always working with our good friends at NoMAA, who've been so supportive. I would give also thanks to WITIC and to Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts. So many people have helped to make this possible, including our board members at Cornerstone and all the member artists without whom we would not exist. Several of them are on this call now, so welcome everybody. That said, I think we can go to our little video that our good friend Kristen Spix, one of our founding members, created for us. And then we'll focus on the work of Gal Cohen. I'll be here if you have any questions about the studios, and feel free to check out our website with all of our contact information and all the websites for all the artists at cornerstonestudios.nyc. That said, take it away.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I have the video. I'm having a little technical glitch here. It's not coming up. Did you, by any chance, have a copy of it?
I can go onto Dropbox and play it from there if you like.
Oh no, here it is, sorry. This sweating over here, okay. Let me get it for you. Sorry about that. Let me share this with you guys.
Hi, my name is Jeff Hapa, and I want to welcome you to Cornerstone Studios. At Cornerstone, which I founded in 2015, I am a member artist and the executive director. In my studio, I made drawings and paintings inspired by the history of exploration, museums, bones, fossils, deserts, the moon, the whole natural world. A formative experience for me was serving as artist in residence at Joshua Tree National Park in California in 2007. As you can see from my work, I never really got over it. Cornerstone Studios was established to provide professional, affordable workspace to artists living in Northern Manhattan. We look forward to seeing you here for an in-person Open Studios event just as soon as COVID-19 is a thing of the past. And I think we all agree that day cannot come too soon. Once again, welcome to Cornerstone Studios, and thank you to NoMAA and the United Palace for making this evening possible.
Hello, everyone. My name is MARTA BLAIR. I'm a member of Cornerstone Studios since 2015. I'm the first generation there, so I'm happy to be part of that amazing group. I do painting, a little bit of printmaking, textile combination. So a lot of mixed media, paper, fabric, stitching, a lot of liquid paint. So it's all like blending together and layering moments of my life. This is my living room in the background. I've been working at home for the last 3 months. So this is a painting I finished on January, February this year, and some other canvases in progress in the back. If you want to check my work a little deeply, welcome to check my website out, martablair.com. And thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Linda Smith. I'm an artist here at Cornerstone Studios. I am in Studio B1. Behind me is some of my soft sculptures. You can kind of get a quick look. I'll take some good photos. Yeah, I work with materials such as organza, deer sinew, hog sausage casings, do some indigo dyeing on it. Yeah, so various different organic materials. I hope you get to check out the other artists as well. Thanks for visiting. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, it's Marjorie. I've been a member at Cornerstone Studios for 2 years, and I love being part of this community. Really great group of artists and wonderful art being made here. It was really tough to be away from the studio for several weeks, and we're very excited to now be able to come back. And we're looking forward to having open studios again real soon. In the meantime, I hope you can check out my website, MARJORIEVANCURA.com. I just updated the design and added some new work, including a work from 2020 that I completed right before we had to close our doors here. So I hope you'll have time to take a look. Thank you. I'm going to show you a couple of new works here. These are both acrylic ink on Duralar film. I'll do a close-up view here. These are paintings that I base on my continuous line drawings that I'm hand tracing to create the painting in several different layers. This one is based on a construction site where they were building a very large stadium.
Hi, I am Vicky AZCOITIA. I am a documentary photographer based in New York City and the Catskills. I've been a member of Cornerstone Studios since 2018, sharing Studio C. And my work focuses on the natural environment and its relationships. I am inspired by nature's beauty and its overwhelming complexity. But I'm also a graphic designer and love designing photo books. And in the last years, I've been photographing my family. I have 2 little kids. I think we have been very lucky to be here at the Catskills during this time. But I'm very much looking forward to meeting you one day soon at the studios. Thank you for attending. Thanks.
I'm Sam ZANGER. I'm a painter in Cornerstone Studios Room D. My paintings tend to be about people, their settings, and the viewer. By people, I mean recognizable people, family, friends, familiar faces with a certain emotional spark. By settings, I mean psychological settings as well as physical settings. I use a lot of reference from my neighborhood in Washington Heights, but my backgrounds are usually imaginary. And I think a lot about the viewer while I'm painting. I try to leave a space for the viewer in the composition, whether the characters are acknowledging the viewer or not. The painting is always from a single point of view, and it's usually close to the action. That's what my paintings are about. Enjoy the tour.
All right.
KUPER, an artist at Cornerstone Studios. I make sculptures and collages, usually based on natural forms. And then I use them as still lifes for paintings and drawings. Recently, I've been working with collages of photos of my daughter and of a painting of me at the same age that was by my father. Thanks for visiting, and I hope to meet you in person sometime soon.
Hi, my name is JYOTI GUPTA, and I am an author, media maker at Cornerstone Studios in Studio I. My most recent work is a children's book. It's called Different Differenter, in which we talk about why skin is different, what makes the skin brown, why are our skin colors so different, which are the biological aspects of skin color, as well as we talk about the more sociological and social aspects of skin color, which is around how can we talk about our differences, why are grown-ups mean to each other, and so on and so forth. And I've basically been taking this book around to various youth programs, and continuing to build on my research and work around this. I look forward to seeing you all in the fall or maybe next year. Thank you.
My name is JALANDONI. I'm a painter and textile artist in Studio I, Cornerstone Studios. My recent work focuses on inventing personal mythology on being Filipino-American, and I often reference Filipino-American history, as well as personal experiences growing up in New York as a second-generation American.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing that video with us and giving us a glimpse into the space and opportunity that you've created for working artists. And thank you to all the Cornerstone artists for sharing a bit about your work and giving us a glimpse into your extraordinary art and images. And I have to say, I love that you all said, we'll see you in the fall or we'll see you soon. And I hope that's true. We would love to visit all of your studios soon. I'd like to turn now to Cornerstone Studios 2020 Artist in Residence, Gal Cohen, who we are so happy to welcome tonight. Born and raised in Israel, Gal Cohen is a New York City visual artist whose main mediums are painting, drawing, printmaking, and installation. She earned an MFA in Gender Studies and Arts at Tel Aviv University and an MFA in Fine Art at Parsons, the New School for Design in New York City. Since 2009, she has exhibited her work in both solo and group exhibitions widely, indeed all over the world, including in last year's The Other Is You, Brooklyn Queer Portraiture at Brick Gallery in Brooklyn, and most recently in NoMAA's Women in the Heights exhibition just this past March. She has curated several exhibitions and is a recipient of numerous prestigious fellowships and awards, such as the AIM Fellowship sponsored by the Bronx Museum of Arts, and has held several residencies in France and New York, such as the Shashama Space to Connect program. She is the artist in residence at Cornerstone Studios and the scholarship artist for Manhattan Graphic Center Studios. Her work, building on overlapping layers, explore the formal elements of painting with subjects drawn from the contemporary political and social landscape. Volleying between the figural and the abstract, Gall's work considers contrast, such as the damaged and the sterile, the organic and the geometric. The multiple layers in her work evoke the layering of narratives, an idea that suggests the reused or altered stories and narratives that still bear visible traces of their origin. We are particularly excited that Gall will be sharing her new project, Quarantine Dream House Machine, with us tonight, work that has developed out of her experiences during the city's lockdown. Imagining her own vision for a quarantine dream home led Gall to pose the question, what would your quarantine dream house look like, to friends and strangers alike? The resulting body of digital mixed media works interprets people's imagined alternative houses, which Gall brings to life and shares back with the community as part of an ongoing dialogue. She no doubt is an artist for this time, balancing isolation and dreams, constricted spaces and reimagined visions, connections and community. I am so excited to introduce Gall to you all tonight. Gall?
Thank you so much, Nira. I could not have introduced myself better. Thank you so much to all of you, Martin, Michelle, Joanna, and Jeff. I'm very, very happy and pleased to be here tonight. And yes, I'm currently physically in my studio, finally. It's opened up a few weeks ago. But I am gonna talk about Quarantine Dream House Machine, which is the digital project that I'm gonna share screen right now. Just a second, let's go up. All right. So yeah, as Nira said, Quarantine Dream House Machine is a project that it's time specific, and it started while the quarantine started, where I didn't have any access to my studio, nor to the print shop that I'm an artist scholarship at, and I was very frustrated from being at home. 4-flight up apartment, small apartment in New York City with my wife and with my toddler, 2-year-old toddler almost, and no time and no space for work. So I started envisioning what would an ideal place for a lockdown would be for me, right? Like where would I be happy and satisfied being stuck, basically, like everybody else. But I didn't really have an answer, and it just, on a very casual post on Instagram, I proposed the question, if you'd share, or the invitation, if you'd share with me your house of dreams, I may make a drawing out of it. Come on, try me. And it was very casual. I didn't know or if anybody would react to that or what would be the reactions, and I didn't really have a plan of what's gonna happen. But after an hour, I got the first dream house from a friend that follows me on Instagram, of course. And I just ran to the job to architect her dream house, right? And at the beginning, it was very simple designs because my knowledge in digital drawing or in Photoshop is very limited. But then it got more and more sophisticated or skilled in terms of what I could do, what I figured out I could do. So every house I made and posted back on social media, brought the next house, the next invitation, right? People saw what I share, they liked it, and they're like, hey, I can't, like people texted me, how can I get a quarantine dream house? Or people just straightforward sent me a description. Some people without even knowing me or being close to me. And at some point, it just got to the point where people who are not even following me started approaching me and requesting dream houses because they saw it on other people's social media feeds. So this is an example for a house that a person who didn't know me from before asked. She lives between Haifa in Israel and Germany. So her description of a house was, I would love a rooftop and big windows so it's always bright inside. And if the weather is good, I can have my coffee on the rooftop overlooking the city and the sea like in Haifa. Whenever I'm in Haifa, I love being there, but I also miss the forests in Germany. If I could have Haifa and with a forest in Germany, it would be amazing. So of course, I'm trying to do the best I can in visualizing people's house of dreams. It's a lot of time not really realistic, which is very awesome and challenging for me. So this is one of the houses, right? This is another house by Laura, another woman who did not know me from before and saw this project just rolling along on social media. A modernist house. This house, I really like the description. It challenged me a lot. It goes like this. It's by Vicky. Mine would have an assortment of rooms from different countries I love, Japan, and even a police room made out of dirt. I lived in one, loved it. All connected by Frank Lloyd Wright hallways and rooms. Lots of balconies, also treasure rooms for collections. So I found that description very challenging, and while I'm trying to focus on the exterior of houses, she asked a lot of interior, right? With each room, with different style or vibe. And that was super challenging for me, and that was the outcome. So as I said, every house I do, I share back on social media, right? People texting me in private their descriptions, and then I sit with it. I can sit with it like a day or two. Sometimes I have an idea in an hour, and sometimes I have an idea, I need to sit with something and literally meditate on a description until I get the visualization of it. This one is another house by Ali. For me, the influence in this house is Egon Schille's architectural houses series. If anyone is familiar with his not portraits paintings, he does really, really awesome. He did really, really awesome houses painting. So Ali's was, my dream house is a small shelter made of natural materials like wood or salt or clay. It has a clear ceiling or no ceiling. So you can always see the sky and stars. It's in the center of the small lake, which is in the center of a huge forest and mountain range. Wow, no joke. Writing this out was a form of meditation, calm that I wasn't expecting. Like everything in my brain got lighter for a minute. Thank you. So in her description, she got really personal and also reflecting on how it was for her to share with me her house. And there is no bigger motivation for me to do something than this dialogue between other people and me, right? It's quarantine time. You're not socializing with anyone. You have no one to talk to, no one to smile to. And all of a sudden this dialogue and exchange of dreams came into my art practice and nourished it, basically. So yeah, and usually I get to do these houses like at 11 at night, right after my baby is asleep and all the maintenance work of the house and whatnot and teaching online. And it was such a relief for me to get to the end of the day, get a glass of wine and just start, architecting these dream houses. This house is very dear to my heart. It's by Zach, my most favorite cousin and person in New York. I hope you're here. And it's very personal. His description was, my dream house is a modern house, something like Grandma Phyllis's house in Hadera, Israel, my grandmother. but on Mars and with an orange grove. Red planet, orange oranges, black sky, white house with windows, please. So this is basically my grandmother's house on Mars. Pretty straightforward. I think this is my last house. Everybody can check all the houses. I'll refer you later to my Instagram account. By Sharon, Sharon's House of Dreams. So here's my dream. I'd like a combination of a penthouse of an international style building in the center of Tel Aviv, surrounded by people, coffee shops, and bars, along with a peaceful hidden green spot with vegetable garden and lots of space that Geva, her son, could run around freely and happily. And of course, these houses are very personal, right? Some people I know and are very close to my heart. Some people I don't know at all. But in any case, this project becomes very intimate as I try to envision what these people would want to live in, or for the least part, to wake up in the morning and see a post with a house based on their description. This is another challenging house. It's by Juliana, another person I did not know. It is a house, or rather all I imagine is the kitchen with bright land around it, and from the inside you can see green. There is a cobblestone lime stream at chest level that circulates through the room and outside. Rainbow trout, of course, larger and eager to be caught by hand, pass by. So that was very challenging for me because, as I said, I'm trying to focus on the exterior of a dream house, and then all of a sudden she asked for a kitchen and things that going in and out of a house, and it was mind-blowing. This is one of the houses that I took my time with. And I think this is the last house I put here to show you guys. It's by a very dear friend of mine from Israel, Liran's House of Dreams. My dream house is a house on wheels. It's a fantasy, so it makes no sense. What it does have is 2 floors and even a small yard for a cat. It is surrounded by greenery and has a tree house. Just a second, I don't see that. I can travel with this house. The view alternates between desert, green landscapes, sea, and even snow sometimes. There is always a lot of quiet around. There is a nice roof to sit under with a shed and colorful little flags. And when the house is parked, I can open the porch and there is tons of space and air. So in every one of these houses, I see in them my own dream house as well, right? Because I visualize it and I get to envision what these houses would be. This house on wheels is, I think, one of my favorite ones, just because of the concept of having a house that is not grounded to any specific land at the moment, and also not at the moment. Being an immigrant, being from Israel and a dual citizen, it's this constant struggle of where do I want to be, or where is it right for me to be, or where do I feel like I need to be. And if in any other time it's a question that bothers me or makes me think, in these times, obviously, it's very strong. So yeah, if you want to follow me on Instagram and see more of the dream houses, or if you have a dream house you want to share with me, I'd be happy to receive your descriptions and requests. I take my time with making them just because it's time consuming and mind consuming, and now I'm back to the studio, so I also manage my hands-on painting practice, as you see. And yeah, I think I'm gonna open it up for questions.
So much, Gal. That was really, it's such a soulful and beautiful project. And there's something so interesting, I think, and almost nostalgic about that idea of envisioning your home, right? I mean, even from the time that you're a kid, you're drawing your house, you're drawing your house with the windows or with your blocks, the posts and lintels, you're sort of putting it together. It's almost this kind of very basic human impulse, right? To envision our space, to envision our house. It also reminds me of my favorite childhood book. And I don't know if anyone is familiar with the Big Orange Splot, which is this book by Daniel Pinkwater, I think is the author, where it's this, you know, it's sort of a suburban town and all the houses look alike. And one day a seagull is flying by and he has a paint can in his mouth. And I think this is the story, the way it goes. And he sort of spills this paint on this house. And the house has now this big orange spot. And the neighborhood is up in arms because all of a sudden the houses don't look the same. And, and they come one by one to his house and they say, your house is a mess. How could you do this? And he transforms his house and he paints around this orange spot. And he says, my house is me and I am my house and these are my dreams. And then one by one, each of these people goes back to his house or her house and they reimagine their homes in sort of, someone has an alligator and there's, a hammock, and all of a sudden you've got a whole neighborhood with all of these different expressions. And it's just, there's something so beautiful, right? In that idea of envisioning your happy place, right? Your home, what it feels like. And the notion of home, right? Not just the house, but home, right? And I think it's something that we all can identify with, even when kids, I don't know how many of us had that experience when you're moving and your kid is distraught because he's moving and he doesn't understand what moving means. And then you sort of say, well, no, you're taking all your stuff with you and we're going too. And then they kind of go, oh, because it's home, right? It's a really beautiful project and so timely and optimistic. And I'm sure there are so many questions. So I really want to turn the mic over to Joanna, who is here tonight to moderate our Q&A. Joanna, are you here?
Yes.
I see you.
Hello everyone. Good evening. Great to see many familiar faces and many new faces. So please feel free to type in questions for Gal. I actually have a few, and one is, can you walk us through the mechanics of creating a house? How you get, so I think Isabelle had a question, so Isabelle, if you wanna take it away, and I'll add a little bit more to the question.
Sure. Hi, Gal. It's really good to see you. I've been, as you know, I've been following your work on Instagram. This project.
Hi, Isabelle. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, maybe because I stepped away briefly, what mediums are you using to create these pieces?
So yeah, actually, I can connect your question, Isabelle, and your Joanna. So it's all digital. It's on Photoshop, and I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a designer of any sort. So it's basically just a trial and error of just using this medium and playing with it. So if you follow the project, you can see that the first houses are so basic. It's basically a square on a different background, and one color on a different background color. And then just with every house and every description I get, I just skilled myself, because I know I didn't take tutorials or such, to try to achieve what I want, right? And sometimes a functioning Photoshop brings me to something, right? A mistake, something that I did, I don't know how, like really by mistake. But a lot of time, a lot of these houses start from a hand sketch, a very, very simple one, just to understand the really general outline of the house. But all those details that you see here in the screen are obviously part of the Photoshop process and me. And at some point, my birthday was in May, and Mika, my wife, got me this, what you call it? The pen, the digital pen. It has a name. So she bought me that, and that also added up to my painterly skills, my digital painterly skills, because all of a sudden it wasn't just like with a mouse, it was to literally draw on a pad, sketch pad, and see the line that I drew on the screen. So there's that as well. But yeah, it's all digital. I incorporate images of vegetation, of wildlife, plants that usually I take photographs of them. Sometimes if there's something that I really want from my hometown or from near my house, like an eucalyptus tree or some garden view, I ask my mom to photograph something and send me, and then I incorporate it into a house. So yeah, I hope that answered your questions.
Thanks so much. Since we have you in your studio space, would you mind sharing some of the pieces that are right behind you?
Yes, I would love that. In the introduction, Nerea talked about, and what Nerea said about the house is not a new obsession of mine, and I think I never got past it or over it since I was a kid drawing her house. So also in these paintings, there are renderings of houses, of demolished houses from my hometown. So these works over here, I'm gonna try to bring some closer. The works I'm working on hands-on in my studio are multi-layered painting with a lot of layers to try to echo the notion of memories and how memories operate over time, right? Where it's a lot of narrative, a lot of time flashing narratives, a lot of time fiction. Memories are not a fact. Memories are not something that happened. Memories are something that we tell ourselves that happened, that were registered in our minds and souls. And here they are. Thank you, Michelle. So what you see here basically is a lot of layers. One of them is the architectural rendering of lost houses from my hometown. Other layers is vegetations, a lot of greenery. Other layers is just paint layers, trying to create this kind of like a very simple landscapey vibe of the upper, like sky and earth, very basic. And altogether, these paintings that are called Notes on Nowhere create this kind of like notion of, for me, how I experience a memory or how a memory operates, which is a very blurry thing, and it's really not so bright as we think it is, as I think it is. So yeah, these are paintings that are currently in Israel. Actually, I sent them a minute before the pandemic has started, fortunately, with my parents and sister that visited. And they were sent to Israel because they're gonna be shown there in an art project as soon as the pandemic is over. I can't really talk about this yet, so I won't. But yeah, these paintings that you're now seeing are in Israel, and what I have behind me is the same series, the same technique, I would say, of Notes on Nowhere, of that series.
How did the title come about?
Again, I'm thinking about places that don't really exist anymore, right? Or exist in my mind or in a collective memory somewhere. So the nowhere comes from that. And yeah, Notes on Nowhere, I just one day just popped as if this is the right name for this series. Yeah, I'm now trying to expand this project, not to deal only with demolished houses from my hometown, but also from other places. But that's made to be. Yeah.
Nice. We have lots of beautiful comments. One from Elizabeth Starkovich. So many things possible. I love that phrase. It's lovely when you see so many folks that do not have homes or the home they would love to. Beautiful, thank you. So it's just great what we can imagine, what we hope. So please, folks, feel free to add in more questions. Love this project. You mentioned how you got started. Will you continue for the foreseeable future with the project?
So I call this project not site specific, but time specific for the quarantine. So I think as long as we're in this crazy situation and people are stuck, hopefully we won't be, hopefully a second wave will not come, but I think this is a project for the time being home and working from home, right? Again, people are more than welcome to send me descriptions. I would love to keep doing that, but I do keep it as kind of like a time capsule of the pandemic, right? I won't be doing this in 2 years from now. Hopefully the pandemic won't be here in 2 years from now, but it's a very contemporary project.
And which is the best way for folks to contact you?
Instagram. People are very welcome to follow me, or if they just want to send me a message through Instagram or Facebook, actually, both work. It's like it's a digitally born and raised project. That's the beauty of it, and that's the weird intimacy that is created through the social media. It's not something I communicate with people verbally. It's through the social media. I would love to also talk about it, but that's the main, here it is. And actually it's now showing in a beautiful online exhibition called By Proxy, curated by BLAIR Murphy. She's the curator in Arlington Art Center. And this project is showing there. And I'm also gonna talk about it next week in an artist talk with her. And yeah, this is if you follow me, you can see there was an article about it, and it showed in a few other online exhibitions, and hopefully in a few more in the future. And yeah.
Wonderful, congratulations on the exhibit. If you could, there we go. So Arlington Art Center in Virginia. I grew up in the DC area, so when I saw Arlington, made me smile. We have here a question from Meg. Meg, are you with us? And then Natalie raised her hand.
You see me?
Yeah,
Hi, I'm here. This is Meg.
Hi, Meg.
Hello. So, full disclosure, I am a cousin by marriage. So I love them. And my comment, I'm just going to read it back. It sort of strikes me that there's something deeply archaeological here, like excavating people's memories and desires. So with the quarantine, it strikes me like a little bit of a history of the now. So I wanted to ask a question about sort of memory in the past. And I wanted to ask specifically, how much do people's narratives factor into your artistic process? Namely, do you go back? Do you have to follow up? Do you have to ask people for a little bit more information? Once you start the process, after they have gotten, in touch with you, do you have to go back to them? I'm a little emotional because I love you. Do you have to go back to them and ask them, describe the sort of the mountain or describe the house, and sort of, can you talk a little bit about why this particular sort of association is important right now?
That's a beautiful question, Meg. Yes, and it's very interesting because some people I know very deeply and I love very deeply and are so close to me, and some people are not familiar with me or me with them at all. I try to keep it the same. I try to be very democratic in terms of how I approach these houses, but obviously I can't, because if Zach asks me for a house, I know Zach and I love him so much and I want to please him. And I know
Phyllis's house.
Yeah, and I know my grandma's house, which he referred to. So it's impossible not to get very personal, but I want to get very personal with everything, but the circumstances are such that some houses I know more how to approach from others, and I try I try to surprise people. I try to keep a certain distance and just at some point just upload it on social media and they see it, right? So I bet some people, when they send me descriptions, they forgot about it and they didn't even expect it and they didn't know me. And then all of a sudden something comes up and they're tagged in a post and they see a house, right? So I'm trying not to get more information than what they provide me in their descriptions. Trying to be very, very loyal to their initial requests. And obviously some requests are more familiar to me from what they will want. So I have a friend, a very dear friend, that asked me a house, and the comments when I tagged her back is that everybody commented on that house that, hey, it's your house, right? Because it's her house, because I know where she comes from. And she asked for something very similar to where she grew up. She grew up in a very, very pastoral and beautiful village in the north of Israel, right, in the Galil. So when I know people, I know more what they would love. I hope, right? I can't really, yeah.
Thank you, Meg. Great question. And I believe it'll be our last question for this section of the program from Natalie, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yes, thank you. God, first of all, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I was wondering, how long are you going to take it out of the context of quarantine and COVID? And because people are dreaming about houses, I guess, all the time. And that also leads me to kind of like, what is your next project? Are you think you're gonna kind of like use this technology or continue with this dream of having, I don't know, a dream partner? Can you make people, dreams come true?
I'm thinking a lot what my next thing will be. I really like the dynamic here of the interaction and the dialogue I have. Usually my art is very personal and I just speak with myself and I eat my head off out of speaking with myself. And it's the first time I'm communicating, right? And it's such an ironical fact that the first time I'm communicating is the time where it's impossible to really communicate and see and meet people. So I see it as a kind of like a very immediate response to the current situation. I don't know what shape it will take in the future. So that's a thing to think about. I wish I could make other people's dream come true in any means possible. And I'll see, I really don't know.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Gal. Just a quick question for Jeff. If anyone is interested in buying artwork from the wonderful artists at Cornerstone, could you type in the website of Cornerstone, or the best way to reach the collective as a whole?
Absolutely. We have a website, obviously, and we're all over social media. But on the website, there's an artist page. And if you click on the artist's name, you'll be taken immediately to their website. So each artist has contact information there. And I'll type in the website. It's cornerstonestudios.nyc.
Thank you so much, Jeff. So I think with that, we wrap up this part of the program and back to Nidia.
Thank you, Jeff. And Gal, thank you so much for sharing this project with us. I think we can all agree. It's really, it's so timely, and I think it touches all of us, and I think that notion of sort of going back to your childhood and sort of imagining, what's outside of your four walls, and even as grown-ups, we do that daily. I think it really, really strikes a chord with all of us. So thank you so much for sharing your work with us. I want to close out our event tonight with our rapid fire questions segment. So this is sort of the moment where I'll just ask some questions and you will kind of off the cuff give your answers, whatever occurs to you and however you want to answer them. There's no right or wrong way. It's just whatever comes out. Are you ready?
I hope so.
Okay. All right, here we go. Which historical figure do you identify with? We're talking about memory, past, narratives.
Wow. That's a good one. I think, I'm not sure anyone here will be familiar with, actually. I think she's the first queer person in my hometown. Nobody knows her, really. It's like this kind of collective memory that is lost in the archives. Her name is Zila Feinberg, and she was kind of like a pioneer, and she was very feminist in a time and place where none of these women and human rights even existed in Israel. I don't want to speak about Israel now at all in that sense. But yeah, I would say Zila Feinberg.
Yeah, that's a great answer. All right. What is your favorite place in New York City or Uptown? And I know you've lived in a variety of places in the city, right? So you might have multiple answers for that.
Yeah, I currently live in Hamilton Heights, and I actually fell in love, me and my wife, we fell in love with Hudson Heights, with this neighborhood, and we're looking to move here. I can't even describe the feeling of being here. It's just, I walk here and I feel home. It feels community-based, it feels very family-oriented, and I really like it here. I like St. Nicholas Park. I like all kinds of things. There's the mother in me who likes all kinds of cool things for my kid, and then there's the artist in me who likes Cornerstone. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of spots.
Multiple facets to your being. Yeah, I think that shows up in your art as well. So that makes sense. Okay, if you had to come up with a title for your biography, what would it be?
I would say it's based on a former body of works, but I would say Thoughts of a Confused Painter.
That's perfect. I love that. That's great. Okay, so besides the Thoughts of a Confused Painter, what is also on your nightstand?
Oh my God, my baby's mess is on my nightstand. I have nothing of my own there.
How old is your baby?
She's gonna be 2 next month.
Oh, then for sure. Then the mess is probably the right way to characterize it. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. All right. What is your, this is a tough one, I think. Or I don't know, maybe it's not. What is your idea of perfect happiness?
Of perfect happiness?
Yeah.
I think it's a blend, it's a mix of raising our child and making art, and trying, like, having this balance between these two would be the thing that will make me happy the most. From one hand, I want to be with her any minute of the day and night. On the other hand, I need this, not less. So it's this balance that I'm constantly looking for that would make me the happiest, and be close to my family physically, and yeah.
Caring in those homes, in those spaces.
Yeah, back in Israel, here.
Right. Yeah, seems to be the leitmotif of your life and your work, right? Okay, so then maybe this is sort of connected. You're having a dinner party, and you have 3 guests. They can be living, or they can be dead. They can be a real or fiction. Who are they, and what might you be serving? What's on the menu? And who's there?
Okay. I think I would love Jane Jacobs in my dinner table. I would love to speak with her about things and the city, and the way she perceived things should be happening and the way they are now. I would love to have Nina Simone in my dinner table. And I would love to have my great unborn grandchild in my studio.
Oh, what a great answer. Ah, I love that. Okay, that's a great answer. Okay, Who is your favorite artist or artwork or art movement? Is there something that sort of just comes up for you over and over again?
I think abstract expressionism is something I go back to, and I like layers. I like minimalism in one sense, but also very painterly vibes and layers. I don't think I have a favorite artist to be true. I tend to go back and forth with many artists. Lately, I'm looking at female artists more and more and more and more. By lately, I mean in the past few years. So I would say Ethel Adnan is one of them. I tend to blank when I need to mention names, so I think yeah.
There's so many. It's almost an impossible question to answer, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I ask it, because why not, right? Okay, one last question. Here we go. What is your motto or your words to live by?
What's the second part?
Or your words to live by. Your motto or your words to live by.
I think about it a lot, especially these days, actually. I think I always try to find where my blind spots are, right? When I don't see the picture or the full picture or the pictures from the other side and how it's experienced. So I'm trying to leave my own zone and try to understand other perspectives around me and other experiences and other challenges and difficulties. And yeah, to work with these blind spots and not be blind with them, right? See them and understand. Yeah.
That notion of trying, all of us sort of noticing what our blind spots are and trying to move beyond them and seeing, right? Really looking and seeing. It seems like a universal motto or universal kind of idea to live by. Thank you so much for your presentation, for sharing your art, for your process, for allowing us to think a little bit beyond this conversation about what our dream homes could look like, our dream spaces, allowing us to dream a little bit. I think that's so important right now. And I think that the work that you're doing has tremendous value at a time where I think we all really need it. So thanks for sharing with us tonight. And thank you so much, Jeff, for being here, for Cornerstone Studios, and for sharing your work with us and the work that you do for our community. Thanks to our friends at the United Palace. We are so happy you're with us tonight. I see you, Mike. And thank you to the Department of Cultural Affairs and the City Council, and especially to all of you tonight for sharing with us once again another Thursday evening at 7:30. We're so happy to have you here again. And I'd like to turn the mic over now to Martin, who will close out our evening. Martin.
Thank you, Neria, and thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Please take a minute to answer the 3-question survey that's showing up on your screen. And also, if you haven't yet, now is a great time to complete your 2020 census online at my2020census.gov. We also invite everyone to read the Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance weekly newsletter for artists' opportunities and upcoming events on our website, NoMAAnyc.org. And please join us next Thursday, July 23rd at 7:30 for Stay Home Open Studios with Lorenzo Gru, sponsored by the Manhattan Times. Open Studios will continue on July 30th with artist Rafaela Luna. Now our big announcement. We will take a short 2-week break after July 30th, and our Open Studios series will continue each Thursday at 7:30 p.m. beginning on Thursday, August 20th. Featuring a different artist each week. Please see our website, artstroll.com, for info. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everybody, and have a wonderful night. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you.
Thank you.